Hello, I'm Seth Johnson with Land House. So in today's video, we're going to be assembling this 1 1/4 hydraulic ram pump. As you watch this video, if it seems a bit daunting, remember you can always buy a pump at landhouse.com. Hope you enjoy. For this ram pump build demonstration, I'm going to be using the 1 1/4 size pump. So let's go over all of the parts we need to build the pump. First, I've got some 1 1/4 close pipe nipples. This allows the components to be screwed close together and not have any extra gap between. So we have 6 of those. I have got 2 3/4 pipe nipples and the same close style. Next I have a 1 1/4 ball valve. I've got a 1 1/4 PVC union. Next I've got 2 threaded PVC tees. It's threaded on all 3 sides. 2 of those. Then I've got a spring check valve threaded. So this has a spring on the inside that allows water to flow through one direction and not the other. Next I have a bushing that goes from 1 1/4 down to 3/4. Then I've got another union. It's a 3/4 threaded. Then a ball valve, 3/4 threaded. And then lastly here, I have a brass swing check valve. This is threaded on both ends, and inside here there is a little lever that closes on a swing motion. Now to assemble the pump, we're going to have some pipe tape. This is just Teflon tape. And then to make sure things are tightened up, I have a couple of wrenches here. The first step in the pump assembly is to take the Teflon tape and put it around these pipe nipples. And we're going to be doing that in a clockwise position. And the reason for that is because whenever it's time to actually screw components onto this, we want to make sure that they do not unscrew or remove the Teflon tape. So on each of these, I'm just going to wrap a couple of times and then make sure that this pipe tape stays on the nipple here. I'm going to do that on both sides of each one of these. Once all of those are done, I also want to make sure that I get this pipe tape on the 3/4 size as well. This pipe tape will allow the components to screw together in a more fluid manner, and it helps to create a better seal in the components. Now the Teflon tape has been put on all of the pipe nipples, it's time to assemble the pump. So first of all, take your 1 1/4 ball valve and a pipe nipple and thread that together. Now we'll worry about tightening these later. So next you want the 1 1/4 union, and that's just going to go on this other side over here. Okay, now we want another one of our pipe nipples. Okay, next we want one of the T's. Okay, another pipe nipple. Next, we want the spring check valve. Now, when you look on here, you need to make sure that the flow is pointing away from the components we just put together. There's an arrow on these that distinguishes the flow direction. Okay, next we want another pipe nipple. Oops. Okay. Then next, we want to do another one of these T's. Now, before we can move on, we also have to put Teflon tape on the bushing here. Forgot to mention that earlier. Okay, and clockwise, just like the previous. The threaded bushing is going to go on the end of that second T. Now, on that 3/4 end here, we're going to put one of the 3/4 pipe nipples. Okay, now from that pipe nipple, we're going to put the other union, the 3/4 inch union. Okay, so on the other side of that union is another pipe nipple. And then lastly, on this row, is going to be the 3/4 ball valve. Okay, now you'll notice we still have two of these pipe nipples left. The first one we're going to put here at the first T. And that is for our swing brass check valve. Now with this, you want to make sure that the door is going to fall open from gravity. So it's going to screw onto this pipe nipple with the door hanging open. We'll tighten that later. So the last one of these pipe nipples is going to go in the second T, and that's going to be used for our pressure tank. Now we'll get to that here in just a bit. Now that each of the components has been put together, it's time to tighten this down. I like to use these 2 wrenches here and just grab a hold and tighten this down. Now we are working with PVC, so you can't tighten it too much or you may risk breaking things. If you're building with a steel components, you can tighten down maybe a little bit tighter. So I'm going to go through the line and tighten all of these up. The pump is now fully assembled and tightened. Now, one thing to note whenever you're tightening your parts is that both T's need to be facing in the same direction. So you can see this one's up here and this one's up here. And that's because you want this to be sitting rather flat whenever it's working. So the pressure tank will be over here, and this check valve is also up and down here. Other than that, just make sure everything is nice and tight. So let's go and start building our pressure tank. To build the pressure tank for the 1 1/4 pump, we'll need a few items. A 4-inch PVC Schedule 40 pipe. We'll need a 4-inch coupling, a 4-inch socket to
1 1/4 threaded bushing, and then a 4-inch cap. And also we'll need an inner tube. This is a bicycle inner tube. As long as it's maybe a 26-inch, somewhere around there, should be fine. The tools you'll need for this build are some form of PVC cutting device. I've got an angle grinder here. You need a tape measure, a pin to mark with, safety glasses, some earplugs if you're using the grinder, PVC cement, and a bike pump tube. To get started, I'm going to take the tape measure here and measure out 17 inches and mark that on the pipe. Okay, now I'm going to spin the pipe a couple of times and mark that 17 inches so we can get a reasonably straight cut with this angle grinder. Now, with both ear and eye protection on, I'm going to use the angle grinder to cut along the line to get this 17-inch pipe section. Now that we have our pipe section cut, it's time to assemble the pressure tank. I'm going to take the PVC cement here and I'm going to coat the inside of the coupling. Make sure you get a very good coverage in here. Okay, I'm going to simply stick the pipe into this spot. Make sure it's real snug there. Next, I'm going to coat the other side of the coupling. And put the bushing on here so it will look a little bit like this. This next step is to insert the bike inner tube into the pressure tank. Now there's no real value here. You just kind of make sure that the tube is reasonably tight, but not too tight. So I'm just going to lightly poke this down here and then grab it from the underside and pull it enough that I can attach my pump to it. I'm just going to start filling this up and then make sure I stuff the other end down into the pipe. Alright, and now you can just start pumping this until the whole tube seems tight. You can here and see, yeah, that's pretty tight. So we're going to leave it there. Pop the pump off, put the cap back on. I'm going to stick this into the pipe. Now, it's time to put the cap on. Just as with the bushing and the coupling, I'm going to put a nice coat of PVC cement in here. Make sure it's thoroughly coated. And then I'm just going to push this on here. Now to finish off this build, I just add a Land House sticker. And we are done. Now at this point you have the two pieces completed. The last step is to attach your pressure tank onto this threaded nipple here, and that will complete the build of your hydraulic ram pump. Well, I hope you learned a lot in this video. Now you can make your very own hydraulic ram pump. Now if these steps seemed a little bit daunting to you, remember you can buy your own pump at landthehouse.com. Take a moment to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.